Hello and welcome back to another episode of Under the Table. This is for King's Crossing. This is a post-game, behind-the-scenes talk show where the cast and crew, all two of them, show up for behind-the-scenes talk. We get to discuss all things related to King's Crossing. The campaign as a whole, we usually try and reflect on recent events, but we can always discuss everything going on in the campaign altogether. We've shortened this episode down to, these episodes down to 1 hour, so we have about an hour time frame for these. Sometimes we are like, I don't think we've ever run out of stuff to talk about, but there's times where it's like, damn, we could go on for another hour, but I can't really remember why, but for some reason we shortened these down to an hour. But we're going to try and fit in, because of Pickles, we're going to try and fit in what we can. So, basically, the last time we had an Under the Table was just as the Battle of the Blights was wrapping up. Yep. Just as it was closing. So we've had 4 episodes since then. Episode 34, 35, 36, and now 37 just happened yesterday for us here. So if you guys want, we can dive into recent events within the last 4 episodes, or if you guys had something else to address throughout the campaign as a whole, I'm always welcome to address that as well. But did anyone have anything they brought to the table?
Well, yeah. I just want to start by saying that this is kind of serendipitous because Grunkle and Adarag were both in the same location when this thing ended.
This is very true. Yeah, the other members showed up for them at the table, but they're in a different realm, so we don't see them.
Speaking through the veil.
Yeah, that's funny. Pickles, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, I have a lot of ideas. One of them that I'd mentioned to you earlier this week was talking maybe about what we spent our advancements on. But because I always find that really interesting as a player, as a storyteller. Like, what do you spend your experience on, especially in a system like this that's semi a la carte, where you can kind of buy from a number of options and you might not really be aware of what your friends' options are. And I heard somebody bought leadership. And that was one where I was like, but why? And not in an insulting way, more of what motivated you to buy that, since it's not in your character class?
No, not at all.
Nope, he spent 200 experience points on it and had to find a reason and an argument to get it.
So that's why I was kind of wondering, I guess, especially for you, is what was your motivation to spend that when you could have had 2 of your normal abilities increased?
Yeah, so thinking about like the way that I've been playing Adarag so far, he's not really the best smuggler. So what he's kind of done in this as like working with Nimwort is he's kind of taken on the social role of the group between the two of them, and he's been the one who's which really kind of showed in the battle for Arwen's Rest, where Adarag kind of went off on his own and was able to kind of rally some of the groups to help defend the city, and sort of kind of sparked for me as a player kind of like, okay, this might be an interesting route to go with Adarag as a maybe like kind of leaving his old life of kind of trying to become this piracy person to more of, well, maybe I can help aid this town, and now that the leadership roles are voided from this area, maybe possibly start to step up into that role. But other than that, also it kind of goes in line with a little bit of the superpower that Rath and I have talked about. That eventually down the road, I don't want it to
spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Well, now I want to know what you picked.
Well, I'll leave that as a surprise. But down the road, I would like to take more of a willing action, like take a willing aspect to it rather than a kind of dark, twisted aspect to it. So that's why I picked up leadership along the way.
Oh.
Okay.
That's interesting, because I mean, when I looked at that, I was like, so is he leading battalions and he likes the benefit in combat? Or is this really just a social skill that he wants to inspire people, but not in a battle way?
So, shout out back to the Battle of the Blights. You saw the Lost Sons fighting in the Battle of the Blights, right? Pickles?
Yes,
Yes.
I think I did. Off to the side in the fog.
Yep. Adarag brought them into the fight.
Okay.
When you guys retreated,
that makes sense.
When you guys retreated into Hobbs Lodge, do you remember I mentioned the Miners Guild was setting up outside and protecting Hobbs Lodge in the remaining hours of the fight?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Adarag brought the Miners Guild to Hobbs Lodge.
Without even having leadership at that point.
True.
Not yet.
So, the raw talent. And buying leadership gives you that +10 that usually puts you over that 50% line.
So him
Ideally.
saying leading legions, not really, but he did lead a couple of groups, kind of not led them directly, but motivated, inspired, kind of influenced.
Played to their interests.
That makes sense. And, maybe it's time to mention, I've felt so much of this campaign has been you guys in the background setting us up for success and doing these creative solutions and solving problems that make it so once we finally get to the finish line, it's like, oh, there's a potion on the ground for no reason. Oh, those halflings. Well, the one's a gnome or something. And so everything has felt like, oh, now there's these lamps that give us vision in this fog. Golly, we would be effed without these. And I don't know. I guess my question to both of you, well, it's a variant of the question, but how do you view your role within this campaign, Adarag? Like, how do you feel about yourself being the other group compared to the fighters and what you're accomplishing? And Rath, how do you view our two parties' success levels or like, not success levels, because some of us fail a lot, but
You act like that's you, except Adarag has had some of the best crit fails in recent episodes.
How do you feel that we're both contributing to the campaign, I guess?
Okay.
Rath is what I meant. Are both parties like pulling their way
Pulling their way? Yeah, I see what you're getting at. I'll allow Adaece to answer first.
Sure. Yeah, so I mean our group, not really the fighters, but we didn't really build them to be that way. So as Nimwort is taken on like this tradesman sort of, he can build anything, design anything aspect. I've started to try. I started as trying to fill the role of like a sneaky, stealthy sort of guy, but it really didn't happen until it didn't really work out that way until I got some of the equipment from Nimwort, and so I kind of started to try to reevaluate Adarag as a character and try to move him from, all right, what is he doing so far in the RP side of things, and how would that translate into a direction for his character stats to go? And so that's why I chose, and so that's why I think our group is kind of the background building and making all this equipment to set up the town for success. But also now I'm trying to take on the aspect of also being the one who can diplomatize that background actions that are going on.
That's an interesting take, because you guys could be making the connections, and say Adarag forges an alliance with, we'll just throw out the Lost Sons, and he goes, we'll just throw out maybe the Miners Guild, because their group doesn't have as much interaction. We'll say the Miners Guild. You forge an alliance with the Miners Guild, and you're like, all right, I'll have my people be in contact with you. And so when the actual quest comes that Grunkle and Torvekek and Wilfred need to take care of, they would show up, and the miners are like, yeah, we've been expecting you. Yeah, we're ready to help. Here's what you need. And they're walking up going, oh, thanks? But Adarag's already laid down the groundwork and built the relationship with them as the diplomat.
Mm-hmm.
That would be an interesting addition.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself as the leader or decision maker or the person who suggests the thing that the group then follows through with in that party?
Not all the time, no. Most of the time, it's kind of a collaborative. In recent episodes, Adarag has definitely drug Nimwort through some trials and tribulations. Go and watch the end of last episode if you want to see some of that.
The last episode, the fishing episode,
The fishing episode. Yeah, there's been a couple of times where Adarag kind of pulls Nimwort out of his comfort boundaries that can sometimes lead to a lot of times leads to them getting into a worse off situation.
To be honest, if I had to look at the parties as a whole and pick a leader, I don't think I could squarely pinpoint any one of you. I think because Nimwort is probably the smartest, but not a leader. I would say Adarag is the most diplomatic and willing to talk to people and make connections, but he isn't the decision maker.
No. Yeah.
Grunkle is the biggest to act, but he isn't, willing. He isn't able to come up with the ideas and have the planning to go into it.
He's zealous.
Yeah, Torvekek is
Dead.
Abrasive.
Dead. Yeah. No. Yeah, I was gonna say stubborn, and he wouldn't make a good leader, but he'd make a great companion, but just not the leader. And then Wilfer, we all know Wilfer, way too shifty to be the leader, and so it's interesting to look at the party as a whole and try and pick one person to be the leader. As of this point, I don't think one character has risen to a point where they could be a leader. I think all characters have the aptitude to step up to a leadership role. Do I think any of them have done that as of yet? Not personally, no.
I was thinking about this last session, especially. Torvekek said that Grunkle's always pulling him into things that he doesn't want to be involved with. And
Grunkle is the Adarag of your group.
well, so that's what I was thinking is what makes a group leader, a squad leader, is the person who's kind of calling the shots, and we get into stuff because of them, and we're all following their path. And it just kind of made me think.
Does that make them a good leader?
No, but it makes them the group leader, the one who's leading in the direction.
Okay.
Even if somebody's being told to do the pathfinding, it's still we're going into the castle and everybody follows. Mm-hmm. They could have abandoned Grunkle and just been like, no.
Yep.
But Torvekek followed. And I just kind of started thinking about that because the two group leaders come to meet under the table. Well, it's a crumbled piece of ceiling, but we can't get under it.
Yep.
I would think it's interesting if Arwen's Rest rises from the ashes and becomes a town, and its council of leaders is Grunkle and Adarag.
Well, I think that
you guys
have
meet
a
at
great
the
idea.
table and we're we're the leaders now.
But the war room that you gave us, the war room has space for all of us. That's what you impressed upon me. Was it was a great war room. It's just everything fell apart, and it had potential, is what I was reading all over that in magical writing. I just said, potential. But, so I think that would make it great to have all of those assets working together as the new town council. Everybody bringing their own practical skills or talents to the mix.
Mm.
If we decide on something, we could have Adarag be the speaker of the house, so to speak. The one who goes out and says, all right, this is what we've decided. We have the brains of Nimwort, the passion of Grunkle.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, not one person being a leader, but having a council of, you guys each making up a part. That I could see, that I could understand. Before we go any further, real quick shout out, Fred. I didn't really give introductions, but I guess here we have Mr. Pickles' voice and portrayal of Grunkle. For anyone who's curious, we have Adaece here. He's the voice portrayal of Adarag. And then, obviously, Fred, our favorite little dwarf named Torvekek. Welcome in, Fred. We were discussing basically recent events, things that are happening. Pickles brought up the question of... Well, you brought up the question of what do you spend your experience points on, which only Adaece shared. You didn't share.
Yes, I am cunning and manipulative. I ask questions, and I do not give answers. But I'm happy to share. I'm not trying to hide.
But that makes sense, because didn't you pick up Guile?
Well, yes, but the player doesn't have that.
Oh, okay.
just to be clear, I picked up Overwhelming Force, which you guys saw in the last episode.
Yeah, that was cool. You
Get
got
a
to
critical
use that.
attack. Thank you, Rath. You did a good job giving that to me.
I didn't give you that. You rolled it, dude. That was awesome. Yeah, you cut off 4 arms. They had no weapons. They're like, run away now.
They were evil arms, and they weren't people anymore.
I learned to read.
That's right. Yep, you learned to read and write.
Mhm.
Which you got to use in the last episode. You wrote your first letter.
Yes, without any of the other characters knowing what's in the letter or that he wrote a letter.
Yeah, because you wrote it in Dwarvish, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Huh, weird.
Wait,
how did you
maybe
learn
I'm just
how to...
thinking like Grunkle, but who the hell cares about somebody writing stick tunes in a book?
It's true. And how did he learn how to read and write in Dwarvish? Odd.
Well, as a
Maybe-
player,
I've
I'm
actually-
thinking he's
I've
got
actually-
a wacky.
I've actually come up with an explanation for that, Rath. I'll sit it. Well,
Well, I've
Yeah,
got an explanation for
Shadow?
that, but I'm curious what you're... I was thinking someone else knows how to read and write in Dwarvish. So you're like, yeah, then write what I say. This, and your shadow's like,
Or it's Isabella.
Or it's Isabella, yeah.
Rath didn't like that I guessed correctly. That's the little girl drawing the pictures.
Actually, I got distracted. Someone came into my stream and says, "Hey, I really liked your stream. You've got cool vibe." You didn't even watch me. We've just started. Shut up. You're dumb.
We started like 20 minutes ago.
Nah, it's a bullshit. Add me on Discord. Get the fuck out of here. Anyways,
Oh,
The,
yeah.
the random bot or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, okay, not a real friend.
no.
Bots.
Okay, so we got what they spent their experience on, which was one of his questions. The second question was, how does it feel? What was your question for the players? You had a different one for me, but I'm curious. What was your question towards the players?
Well, then I asked Adarag a bit about why he chose leadership, which kind of is relevant to why we were talking about town council. But then, so I asked, because I started thinking about like how well our groups are interacting with the setting itself. Because I feel like you and I, Fred, we have been being saved every single turn by our comrades in the other storyline. It's like, oh, we're going out, there's a fog, we can't see anything, psych, there's some lamps somebody set up. It's like, well, that would have been really garbage without that.
I think at this point it's more of a symbiotic relationship because they're the brains, we're the bronze. If we hadn't have been there, they would have been overwhelmed by twig blights.
That's a good point. We
It's true.
do dish out damage. I often feel like we don't do enough. And so I tried asking like Rath, his question was, how do you feel like we're doing, are we pulling our weight? And I'm like, that sounds competitive. I didn't mean it that way.
I think more of what it is we're trying to do things right now that is not in our characters' wheelhouse. Our characters are not thinkers. Their characters are, but they can't fight as well as our characters can.
I don't know. Did you see the stiletto on Adarag?
Yeah, and you should have
Stabbed
seen
him
him
in the
try and
throat.
figure out how to light switch worked. Jesus
That was
Christ.
Nimwort.
That was we spent like half a fucking episode trying to figure out how a light switch worked. It was remarkable. They almost blew themselves up.
How do you almost blow yourself up with a light switch?
This is what I'm saying.
You tamper with the electronics.
And then they got so scared of it, this light switch, that they just ran away and never went down there anyway. Like, never mind. I was like I've been prepping for months, almost a year we've been going, for you guys to finally go in and do this thing.
Yeah.
And then they reached the light switch, turned around and left. I was like, you've got to be shitting me.
So speaking of prepping for months and all that, if you had to guess, how many sessions do we have left?
I don't know. Every time I try and point you guys towards the end of the game, you guys do something fucking different.
So what you're telling me is going up the mountain is not the end of the game.
No, and going up the mountain is, but Pickles says, hey, before we leave, I want to go find the little guys. And I'm like, okay, the little guys are in that underground area. And Pickles also says, I want to go investigate that hatch at Elder Arlane's. And I was like, perfect. Like, that's gonna, add up. And then
Goes
See-
and that does it.
so you guys met up with the little one, and then you guys completely left the hatch and didn't go anywhere near the hatches. There's 2 hatches that both of you, well, they know of 2. You guys know of 1.
There's 2.
Yeah.
And
I thought there was 1 hatch, and I
There's
was like,
2
"Oh,
underground.
hatch problem solved. Cool."
There's 2 underground.
yeah.
Yeah, there's 2
If you watch that episode, I was just sitting there being like, in my own mind, you can see it on my face. I know it. Just me going, hatches, 2 hatches, teleportation, go between a house and a
Yep.
castle, brick by brick, restoration, teleportation. That's such a nice feature to have. Oh, very good real estate here. I was just like planning right there. Greatest HQ ever.
Mhm.
I like how everybody is get castle and the dwarfs kind of just looking at the castle like, this is going to take me forever.
Yes, it will. It will. But we'll get gold and invest it.
But yeah, so I was expecting, okay, we're gonna investigate the hatches, we're gonna go down there. They couldn't solve their problem. They're like, oh, it's scary down there, but now we've got the fighters, let's go. And then you guys are like, we're gonna go to Hobbs Lodge. And I was like, you've gotta be kidding me!
It's because of the confusion there is it sounds like Fred was thinking his underground, which is over at Hobbs Lodge, versus our underground,
Yeah.
which is at the castle.
Different areas, yeah.
Different areas. Yep.
Real quick, we've got people showing up in chat, so just real quick recap of what's going on. So, we're talking about a campaign that we've got going on called King's Crossing. This is kind of a behind the scenes, under the table talk show about it. I am the DM for that game. My name's Rath. Hello. I've got Fred and Mr. Pickles. You guys can wave your hands. They are in a party together, alongside another guy named Shifty. They play Grunkle, Torvekek, and then Wilfer. They're all in a party together. Another party that's going through the game is Adaece up there. He's alongside Tough Nuts. They play Adarag and Nimwort, and they're also in the campaign, kind of going through at the same time. So we're discussing things that are going on in the campaign around the parties. Oh, and I guess I should say Grunkle is a like ogre berserker type. Adarag is a halfling smuggler type. Fred, otherwise known as Torvekek, is a dwarf man at arms type. So there you go. Yeah, I expected you guys to my notes are, oh sweet, we're gonna get to, because the entire game I was telling Pickles this, I expected your party to head up to the mountain at the end of the adventure, right? That's where the corruption is. I figured that's where it would be going down. Okay. Sorry, I'm having more bot people come in here. Apparently we're just bot bait today.
Yeah.
It's the shirt that I wore.
Is
I
that
don't
on-
normally wear stripes, and
Is that on Kick?
No, I stopped streaming on Kick. This is Twitch. Yeah, I expected your guys' group to head up to the mountain. That's kind of the, where the adventure's been taking you this whole time, like you said. And then theirs was, they were investigating Elder R. Lane. He's connected to the underground area at some point. He's connected to, some of the other stuff. And you guys were going to get clues. You're going to investigate his house and do all the stuff. And then you guys didn't. And I'm like, okay, so now for the end of the campaign, coming into the end of the adventure, I'm like, are you not doing that thing? Are you guys just going up to the mountain with them? Because that's not what I expected, but I mean, it's perfectly fine, and we can work around it. But it's just, so how many episodes we have left? I thought we'd be done by now. Not entirely sure. I can't really answer that.
We're just trying to be helpful guys, and so
We're trying to help and just making everything worse as you do.
Yeah, it's just funny because Tough Nuts asks me this as well. He's like, are we going along with what your plans are? And I was like, I mean, I can work with whatever. Obviously, it's an open world. You guys can go wherever, do whatever. I'm only one guy, and I prep certain things, assuming I know what's about to happen. And then we get in session, and nothing I assumed would happen happens. And now Tough Nuts Nimwort is ripped in half between planes. Grunkle's missing. He's in another realm. Adarag's missing in another realm. Wilfer's hanging out with a fucking dragon that he doesn't know. And Torvekek's left alone, standing there witnessing all of this.
Oh, am I by myself? Shit.
Oh yeah, you lost your Grunkle. You gotta have a leash.
Well,
on that
I
guy.
knew Grunkle went in there, but I thought Wilfer was still with me.
Wilfer's
Or did
over
he
by
get eaten?
no, he's over hanging out with the dragon.
Oh, okay. So he's still in the same realm. Got you.
Yeah.
He's still the same plane in existence.
Yeah. But you know Wilfer, he just wanders off into the woods sometimes, so.
Yeah.
where
By the time we get to next session, it's gonna be.
the fuck did Wilfer go?
All by himself with the dragon that killed him. It's like, oh, shite.
Yeah. This sounds like a complete shit show. I mean, it's our shit show though, and it's fun.
Like the whole thing is on YouTube.
Yeah, you can find the entire campaign is on YouTube. It's same name. There's a whole playlist for it. But yeah, as for Pickles' question to me, as far as our, how are each group doing? I mean, like it's hit and miss both times. Like, hey, there's the sea beast and there's something going on with that we need to investigate. Yeah, just stay here and don't move. We'll be back. That was a combat heavy episode, or like, more athletics, and like physical heavy episode, and you guys just left. So then I was like, okay, does the other group want this? And they went out and they did it, and they weren't almost drowned, but they did it. And then I'm sitting here like, okay, didn't expect that. Like, I expected you guys to take this on. And then you guys went and did their quest while they had to go and do your quest. So then you guys are having to solve puzzles and find ingredients, whereas they're out battling the ocean, trying not to drown.
Adarag was
found
on
a castle. I found a castle. I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I've been in a couple of D&D games, and they're all shit shows.
It's also true. Yeah.
Well, one of those games is mine, so.
We fought alien zombies in yours. I don't want to.
Yeah, yours is wild. We'll talk about that.
That's a different table to be under.
It's different under the table.
But for this, I guess to answer your question, I mean, both parties are so. I've said this multiple times, and I'll say it again. Even as a DM, I find myself sitting here going, man, what's going to happen next? Like, I'm just watching this episode unfold, and I'm like, because nothing I predict really ever happens. So then I'm just sitting here going, man, what's going to happen? Like, oh shit, Adarag's talking to the willow tree. I wonder how this is going to go.
Take all your expectations and throw them over there.
Yeah, it's different. It's wild. All of a sudden, Nimworth's just like, now I have sound grenades. I'm like, you have what? Oh, okay, cool.
I did gnome things and now I have explosives.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And there's different things that just, I'm never, you guys never cease to astound me in these games, to where I'm just sitting here, whether it's just pure genius what you guys come up with. Like, there's been a couple times, I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's been a couple times where someone will say something and I'm just like, that's great. Yeah, let's go with that. Let's do it. I want to see how this goes. Like, that's awesome. And then there's been a couple times where I'm just sitting here like them almost
Pickles.
blowing themselves up with a light switch, and I'm just sitting here going, you've got to be shitting me right now. Like, what is happening? You guys spent half the episodes trying to figure out how this light switch works. It's just a light switch. Just walk.
We don't need to know the intricacies. We just need to know it works.
They wouldn't even turn it. They wouldn't, like. It was a whole thing. You guys may find this light switch at some point. I don't know. It turned into a bigger deal.
Something I wanted to ask Rath is kind of a tangent, but is there like a mail service in town that's not dead?
Go spend Grunkle.
Like hookers?
Mail service, as in sending mail.
Postal service.
Yeah. No, Grunkle actually. Well, actually, I think Torvekek might ask this at the beginning of the campaign, and I can't remember who it was, to Liliana or someone, and they said, no, unless you've got like magic, or you can send a letter out on the monthly boat that delivers. Except they recently came back by and said, hey, we haven't gotten any orders. Is anyone in charge? And the party told them to wait and see, and then just disappeared.
Who the hell said that?
Nimwort.
Okay, I was gonna say, if that's me, that's Yeah, I get it.
No, they're like, who's in charge? Because we don't haven't gotten any orders. Do you guys like? We thought you guys were all dead. We just stopped by to see if anyone is still alive in Harbin's Rest because we haven't gotten any orders from anyone. And who's in charge? And everyone goes like, stand by. And then they left town.
Because Torvekek has mailed to send
Because we went
mailed
through
to
the
send
list,
back to the
like,
mountain.
okay, Elder Arlane. All right, he's the bad guy now. Granny Evelyn, she's dead.
That's
Uh,
why we
Griff-
need to make our
Griff,
council.
Hunt Captain Kyler,
Griff, also
Watchman,
dead.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
No,
Tony
they're all
is-
dead. We need to be the council. That's the truth.
Tony is next in line of succession.
Yeah,
okay?
there's Tony.
No, Tony has a family and he is a pillar of the community. He needs to just be a guard. He can't be torn apart by political scandal.
Elder Arlane was a pillar of the community too, but now he's some evil mastermind.
And that's why I agree with Rath, is that no one of us would be the ideal leader. We are all deserving to be part of this council where we can decide for this town what's best. Because clearly, we are the heroes solving problems. We all have, I think you said, Nimwort has raw intelligence, and Adarag's going to have the leadership skill. You have tactical prowess, Torvekek. Like, you would make the perfect captain of the guard at this point, since you can just slay. Grunkle is a zealot. There's no way he's going to turn against the town, so that's not really as beneficial. But he'll fight for the town, at the very least. Everybody's going to rest easy knowing this ogre won't eat us. And that deserves a seat at the table of leadership, I think.
Yes, Ice, we do have a Discord, but I'm not logged in, so I can't give it to you.
I'm trying to get the link. My bot is down currently. I will respond to you, Pickles. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. New friends. Hey,
yeah,
I'm
working
glad
on it.
Ice is if your name. It's a gangster name, so I don't know if I'm allowed to say it.
It's Ice Guardian.
Okay,
good.
okay. That
Which almost
that
sounds
is
like Asgardian, which is kind of cool too.
So I don't know if Torvekek would want to be part of a council. He's got other things to do.
Sorry, but you know Dwarven, so you have to do our. You're our notary.
Just
He's
the
kind
notary.
of remember he's out here for a reason.
To
He's
drink
not-
alcohol, but
he's
that's
not here
why
to
you're.
settle down.
That's why you're the notary. We can use our generated wealth to bring in good ales and whatnot. You can be in charge of purchasing. You can be accounting for like Hobbs Lodge, which will take over if nobody is live.
Counting. You
We'll
want a dwarf.
subsidize.
You want a dwarf in charge of your money.
No, that's my job.
Okay.
Well, you're the speaker of our council.
Trade and foreign relations.
Oh, okay, yeah, then I guess you have that. And I guess I'm the arbitrator because I'm an ogre. But so I had a question. Rath, if
I'm
you're
listening.
back yet.
Yep.
Okay. So my next question in the line of the theme of players and what we're bringing to the party and everything, two groups. If scheduling wasn't an issue, how do you guys see the parties changing potentially? Like, because I've heard Torvekek say that he is pissed off at Grunkle, and it would not be surprising to me if in a, well, I know you're free Tuesdays, I guess, so you could do it. But in theory, Torvekek would maybe provide protection for the halfling and the gnome. No.
No, sorry, I'm not talking to you. My invite link apparently doesn't work anymore.
Okay. And I guess so. My question was, how do you see your character in relation to the rest of the different party members? And where do you think, based on your perspective, the party would split or change potentially, or stay the same? Fred, if you want to go first, I guess.
So at first, Torvekek was like, awesome, there's another group of guys that I am not pissed at for dragging me into this situation.
Right.
And then he realizes they're talking to the dragon that had a large hand in killing him.
But that's a good thing here. That's a really awesome thing. I'm not saying I panicked and direct messaged one of the other players about if the dragon's friendly, but I was like, oh, I'm not that powerful. I just died, guys. But
have you guys heard of the Book of Grudges?
it sounds weirdly familiar. What is it?
So basically, in one of the multiverses, which is basically, I think it's Warhammer Fantasy, the dwarves have this big book of grudges, and it's if you piss off the dwarves, they write your name in the book, and do not take your name out of the book until they kill you.
Oh fuck.
And I'm thinking about incorporating that for the dwarven lore of what we have, if Rath's okay with it.
Oh, now you know how to write. Damn it.
I don't know if I'm comfortable with Grunkle's name going in a book of he will be hunted until he dies.
I didn't say Grunkle's name would go in it, but it's... So, the Book of Grudges isn't for individual dwarves. The Book of Grudges is dwarven kind as a whole. So,
Like Grunkle's a threat to dwarven kind.
yeah, that's the only reason his name would go in the Book of Grudges.
But the joke would be on you, because Grunkle is not his real name. That is his exile status as an ogre.
Like I said, I'm just thinking about it. It'd be something I have to talk to Rath with, because that's dwarf lore that...
So, Pickles, your exact question was,
How do you see the groups changing potentially?
Scheduling aside, would there be intermingling of groups, like Adarag leaving and joining, or Adarag and Nimwort joining up with Grunkle and being like, we need a protector? Like,
Barrel Bros.
We're gonna hang out in your barrel. Like, I don't really know if I could answer that. I feel like that's more of players.
Yeah. I mean, with the recent turn of events, I think we are quickly approaching on Nimwort's Iron Man arc.
Fun fact, you keep dropping that. That was not known.
Yeah.
You dropped it in the last episode too, and I saw Nimwort go,
Oh.
you're not supposed to be telling people that.
Well, I mean, he's ahead right now. I'm not saying like one way or the other.
You're like, he's dead, he can't hear me.
But like Iron Man,
No, I'm saying
like a
like,
heart.
Yeah.
Instead of
I'm saying,
having
like, one way or
instead
the
of
other,
having
like,
the
you have to do
reactor in his
something.
heart, it's on his neck.
It's just,
Yeah,
it's just his body. Yeah, yeah, as far as the intermingling of groups, I could see Wilfer maybe changing, but as much as I think that, I feel like Wilfer, because Wilfer, he actually made a comment about, I should really be in the group of people who think before they do things. And then, but I've also seen him be like, I'm sticking with you two because I actually know you guys and have been hanging out with you, you know?
And you haven't tried to kill me for being an illegal wizard.
Yep, that was a big selling point for him.
Meanwhile,
And I throw out another scene for him. He's not here, so I'm advocating for him.
Of course.
When we were in that last fight, all of us together, Grunkle had the hallway, and Wilfer was sort of in the hallway. I expected him to go back and use his bow, but he made a point of saying he's going to stay in the line with me, even though he's not good at that. And
yeah, he was like, I just fully expected him to run, and so I just started going with him.
And I was like, it's better for you to go behind me and use your bow. But he stood the line, used his bullwhip, didn't do much. And I don't know, that for being such a fragile character, combat-wise, I don't know why, but that really touched me. Like, Grunkle sees himself as a bad berserker. He's garbage at what he does, but he still keeps trying to do it because he's desperate to do anything and sucks at everything else.
You gotta give him that. He has stood alongside you in multiple, like the first battle with the Blights at the foot of the mountains, he stood with you and got his legs shattered, and, you know.
That's right, he did. And I dragged him back to town.
Yep.
He didn't really have much of a choice in that situation, though. They just came out of nowhere.
True.
But this was one he did have a choice.
Yeah.
He had the choice to go to safety and shoot his arrows. But I don't know. I felt that was very touching, and so I just thought I'd throw that out there. For Wilfer, he seems devoted, in a loose sense, to the ogre who's not killing him, who is protecting him, and who refuses to let people rat him out.
Yeah. So what about you guys here? Would any of you guys switch?
I think that Adarag and Nimwort have a pretty good rapport with each other, so I don't think that would really change too much.
Rapport and lore. I mean, the whole premise of Adarag being here was working for Nimwort. You were just like, I just left with Grunkle. I mean, you could, but you would, it would be
It'd be very
a weird event.
Yeah. Yeah, like it started, as like a contractual thing, but we've been through so much at this point. I don't think there's any way that Adarag would leave Nimwort.
Surprising enough, the first episode, your guys' first episode, I believe, maybe episode 3 of the campaign. When you guys lost the Nimble Wench, I feel like that was and now we're tied together for whatever happens going forward. I feel like, I don't know, to me that is just like all right, we are together and we are all we have, so let's survive together.
Yep, I'm a bond.
Yeah, and I think it was really one of them drowning, the other one dragging him and pulling him up until that one started drowning, and then the other one pulled them up, and it was like we're saving each other's lives. That was a big moment.
I don't know if there would be so much a change as it would be just the parties working together more closely, if possible.
That would be nice to have. I'll be honest. From my side, I'm not sure exactly how that would work.
Scheduling is put aside.
Yeah. If scheduling's put aside, it would work easily. But with scheduling, it's always difficult because like what their group acts and your group acts, but it's stuff that's happening at the same time. So if their group act and say Torvekek joined them, and then Grunkle's group acts and Torvekek joins them, how is Torvekek in 2 places at the same time?
He has a shadow, dude.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, for Torvekek. Okay, yeah, fair.
Yeah, all right.
For anyone curious, Torvekek has a mirrored image, and there are now 2 Torvekeks in the game that act. It's a whole thing, a schism between body and soul. Fun stuff. Spoiler.
Definitely
sorry,
not healthy,
Adaece.
but useful.
Slight spoiler,
It happened in a liminal space, so it's fine. It's just like the back room.
Let's talk about recent events. So, Torvekek died. Grunkle went into a coma for over 2 weeks.
It was a fun coma.
It was a fun coma.
I liked it.
Adaece, what has happened to Adarag in recent?
Well,
we can't talk about one of them.
Yeah.
I guess there's still a slight spoiler there. Which has kind of been dropped here and there, but
we can't talk under the table?
Right, yeah. Well, it's something that's still ongoing that I think has Adarag put 2 and 2 together with the Lost Sons, or is I know Adaece has, but has Adarag?
But what together?
I don't think he really has yet, because the person who's involved with that hasn't really made himself, although he did say it quite a bit last
It's more
session.
you kind of quickly negotiated with them without any further discussion. They were like, we need this. You're like, yes. And then Nimwort, I guess, has been more the one who sat and discussed it with them and figured out exactly what they need.
Yeah, so at this point, Adarag doesn't really know about like the discussions that Nimwort had, and even so, the individual who is at risk of this invention, so that's what I'm kind of
individuals.
They kind of made themselves known as in the discussions that we were having last episode.
Maybe could connect dots soon. All right, we'll move on from that because I don't want that's still shady here and there. So but yeah, so Torvekek died. Had an interesting out of body experience where he discovered his body and soul had been cleaved apart at some point in time, and isn't really able to reconnect them because he is dead. But now has 2 functioning, not personas, but 2 functioning beings within the same universe, I guess. So that's fun. There's 2, and you guys got to see a little bit of that in the last episode where he kept missing, and all of a sudden his shadow killed the enemy. It was like, then the boulders are falling, and his shadow's like, "Hey, bro." Get out of the way. Grunkle wanted to commune with the sword. We didn't get to that point, so we're gonna have to get. I put that in the notes in King's Crossing. We're gonna have to get to that because communing with your sword is a not just like, hey sword, how are you?
Well, I was hoping it wouldn't be just, hey sword, what's going on? I was hoping to like hold it and focus and like
Yeah,
try
we
and
didn't get to
meditate,
that.
even though Grunkle's a.
To be fair, that wasn't your guys' entire fault. So, with the crossover episode, basically what we're talking about, guys, is in the last episode, episode 37, we had a crossover episode where both parties came together and all played in the same episode together. In this episode, I was kind of rushing you guys because I wanted you guys to be able to accomplish stuff rather than have to sit there and do a bunch of RP. If you guys want to sit there and do a bunch of RP, like, we can do that. But, like, if you guys want to sit there and talk about, hey, how's your journey been as you guys are traveling, we can do that here. Like, you guys can spend this time doing that if you want. What I wanted is you guys, what I thought was going to happen is you guys would go down into the below and start handling what was down there. And, you know, get to see all that and experience it together. And so I kind of rushed it a little bit here and there. And so, like, Grunkle didn't get to commune with the sword as he should have. And I apologize for that. So we'll have to maybe in the next episode commune with your sword at some point. We'll get into that.
I think what happened with that is that everybody collectively decided, hey, we're all together. And it'd be best if we're all together when we kill the mountain. So let's go do that instead.
Well, that's the thing is in the episode, I heard Grunkle saying, we're going, you guys stay back here and build stuff.
Grunkle is a fatherly figure. He didn't want the little ones to be injured. Grunkle is a worthy sacrifice. Grunkle has the law and order, or law and chaos status of heroism, law, martyrdom, chaos. And I know Rath keeps track of our chaos, and I know my stupid decision-making and my ogre choices are probably leaning more towards one than the other. I know I've tried to be a good hero, but Grunkle is always on that teetering edge of, I'm gonna die to save this. Don't you guys matter more than me? You save the town, I'll save the killing.
You stopped fighting to pick up Torvekek's body and rush him back into Hobbs Lodge.
Well, yeah, after I fucked everything up.
Yeah, but as soon as Torvekek fell, you stopped fighting and rushed to Torvekek's aid. Would that be hero or martyr?
Well, that's a hero thing.
Yeah,
right
I'm
there.
just saying it's not. You haven't made like all choices that push you one way. Like,
oh yeah. No, I
guys
just
are-
know both are building for Grunkle.
Mhm.
He's done a lot of things where it's like, yeah, you fought them, but you didn't. Some people died when they shouldn't have died, and so it's a hard balance with Grunkle.
how do we get on this topic? We're talking about.
Oh, how the group would split, and I don't think I got to say fully. I threw in some examples of why Wilfer wouldn't leave me, but my initial thought was Wilfer and Grunkle seem pretty bonded, and Torvekek is pissed, rightfully, almost righteously, about Grunkle pulling him into shit he shouldn't have died about. But I think that would lead into an interesting scenario where Torvekek, Adarag, and Nimwort travel about. With Torvekek's raw power to back them up, because he is a powerful character. And throughout the campaign, I've thought Grunkle takes hits, but Torvekek deals damage. Ranged and melee, which Grunkle can't do ranged, but... so I thought that initially. Like, that's how it's logically going to change, and then Torvekek over time will be like, you know what? Grunkle is a dipshit, but he means well. And then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, no, I think we all would be joining together. Like the way Nimwort was just jumping into the barrel to be like, I need to write things down for some spaces. Like, I feel like our group, barring scheduling, should all be together and using the raw intelligence that the other group has and the problem solving and the tradecraft that like flips to succeed or something.
Oh yeah,
or always does masterwork stuff. Like, that is insanely
insane.
what we need. We're
Oh
just
my
two
God.
poor fighters.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Somebody's
I-
armor got damaged. And I don't even have armor.
So in their group, they have one guy who can basically craft anything and gets like all these bonuses. So he has like a 70-80% chance to succeed. If he succeeds at all, it's counted as a critical success. And he can always find the supplies he needs to build whatever he wants.
Yeah, Nimwar.
Like, that's amazing. The other one is like, I can hide anywhere at any time for whatever reason, whenever I want.
That would help.
Oh, great!
And then you
have
have
the first 3 shots in combat.
Oh, yeah, and anytime he gets into an encounter, he gets 3 actions before anyone else can do anything.
What the hell? Can I be a smuggler?
It's insane.
And then you have the dwarf and the ogre over here or whatever, and it's just we hit stuff sometimes.
So I wanted to correct that.
Eating crayons,
I wanted to correct that.
way.
Pickles says Grunkle takes hits and Torvekek deals damage. That's not accurate. It's flipped.
Okay, barring
Grunkle,
one instance.
Grunkle deals once you actually figured out how your character works and what you're supposed to be doing, Grunkle deals damage. That's Grunkle's specialty. Grunkle deals damage. Torvekek tanks hits. He doesn't get hit. That's how he tanks hits. Because he's got now his armor's damaged, so that's kind of rough. But
he still has shield wall, though.
Yeah, he has shield, and he always has an action point, always, to parry. Regardless, he could spend all his action points and still be able to parry.
And I can also
block with my shield and he can parry his allies next to him, so he doesn't have to parry himself.
That's what shield wall is.
Yeah, shield wall.
He's got the unique ability that he can parry to the side.
Yep. So I mean, just as much as they're super like awesome in stealth and what's nuts and building stuff, like Grunkle deals hella damage. I mean, I went into a fight. You guys went up against my boss Mateo, and Grunkle cut him down in like 2 hits.
I literally was a wrecking ball. We talked about it in the last start of the table. Like I kept dragging the conversation back to it took the football to the finish line.
So the big blue ogre dude.
Okay, Gorthok, the
That's me.
Yeah, Gorthok.
No.
So if I'm not mistaken, Grunkle was taking hits, right? From Gorthok?
No.
No, not at all. Okay.
No, they were basically evenly not like barely missing each other, and then Grunkle got off like 2 like tiny little attacks.
Yeah. I did like a single level of damage, and it was like, oh fuck, no, okay. I went all out. Then he swings, he barely misses. I'm pretty sure you're like, oh, I'll use a point of misfortune. He misses. I'll use another misfortune. He misses. Seriously? I'll use another misfortune.
Adarag knows this happens. Yeah, this happens where I use it and it screws me too. There was one, I can't remember what we were doing. I was like, I'm going to use misfortune. Boom! Critical fail. Fuck!
That's how it feels as a player, though.
It happens to me too.
82. Okay, I'm gonna use a point to reroll. 84. No, one more. 87. It's like,
God damn it! Yeah, so that happens to everyone.
So that fight with Gorthok.
Yes.
Nothing really changed when Torvekek showed up then?
No, everything changed.
Everything changed. You killed him.
I was scratching him.
You put
No,
everything changed in that it was a fair fight, and then you just came in and planted an axe in his back and killed him.
Oh, okay.
two axe hits, I think.
Right, yeah.
But like the big thing was, I was barely succeeding. I had a mortuary, 1-handed sword, and he has a claymore, 2-handed sword. So like by the basics of it, he has the advantage. I'm like barely dodging, and I'm a giant target. And I do a slash on his arm, a slash on his other arm. And it's like, okay, this is not going well. I need to be doing damage, or he's going to get lucky at some point and hit me. Like, it was pure terrible luck on his part.
I would say the big change that came from that fight is that Grunkle now has a sword called Gorthok the Unyielding.
Oh, yeah. No, I love that. I feel bad about him, and that's why I'm so devoted to helping him and his goal, because this sword changes everything. I could buy Overwhelming Force and actually use it.
Yeah. What happens when you complete his task?
I'll still have a sword, I hope.
Hmm.
So,
is it your sword?
No. I took it from a dead guy.
You took it from... Is he a dead guy?
He's a dead troll, but... Okay,
was he a troll, or was he just called a troll?
He was trolling me.
He was a dead shapeshifter.
We don't know that. It's changeling.
He was blue.
You were there. I told you there are 2 different blue races.
Okay, yeah,
and I get what you're saying. You guys saw another blue race somewhere, right? Originally? in the battle against the Blight at the base of the hill, base of the mountain? The blue things came out and started fighting against the Blights.
Oh, okay. I remember the glowy guy, but I didn't remember.
That's exactly. It was a bunch of blue glowy things that came out and started fighting.
Oh, okay.
So
we're dumb, Adarag. Stop it.
So the blue glowy things had like, I mean, why would they be glowing? Maybe they had some kind of ancient power. What kind of ancient race might have power? Have you guys heard of any ancient races in the area?
No, Moonlit Moss.
That's not a race.
But they could have been wearing it.
Maybe someone that like they set out offerings to.
Nope.
You got so mad he left.
No, I think that's it.
Oh no, I think we've hit the hour mark. No, he hasn't been in an hour.
I clicked away.
Oh, he clicked away. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe a blue ancient race that people set out offerings to.
Okay. So
that Pickles has heard of and they don't fuck with.
I get what you're saying, and the answer to your question is yes. You are correct. If at the end of his adventure, I helped the fairy people, and they were like, "You have taken that which is not yours. Give your name in return, and you can keep it." Grunkle will say, "Well, no, I'm not giving you my name because then I'd, fae, whatever, not whatever." It's a specific thing.
Like, why have you not told me this?
You found one, and you were like, he was like, "My people have been cursed. I'm looking for the one responsible. Was it you?" And you're like, "I kill you in the back with an axe."
No. I was like, no. But be respectful. I tried to be diplomatic. I have no leadership.
I've kind of given this one away because I've wanted you guys to find out about the Fae for so long, and you guys won't connect the dots. And I was just like, you guys found the Fae and killed them.
Let me clarify. Let me clarify my answer.
Sitting behind her woodshed.
Yeah. Well, that's moving past that.
So to be fair,
yes, I will give them the blade if I finish the quest, which was your original question, and I get back there and they're like, "This is ours. It is made of fae steel." Sorry, and I'm like, "Yeah, no, it's your own race. You should get that right." If they say they want the sword back, Grunkle will.
There's just an entire lore about. Hey, there are things out there from an ancient time that we do not fuck with.
Yeah, I'll give them their sword back, and I will go to my town council that I'm now a part of, because I'm the ogre in town, and we will order a new sword. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Everything will be fine.
I'm sure this ancient race that you specifically been warned not to fuck with is just gonna be like, yeah, just give us the sword. That's cool. You just murdered our person that we sent out for help, but yeah.
I saw this quest.
Torvekek has made a habit of pissing off ancient deities, apparently.
Oh God, don't tell them that.
True.
No, don't tell them. No, we're going to approach it and be like, yes, I know I did wrong, but I did right by then serving your spirit. Gorthok, you can call him. He's in the
sword. You can call him.
Like, call him. Hear him out. I did my best. I did the right thing.
Because there's a whole
has
thing.
Folklore. He knows fairy tales, so
there's a whole thing. You guys killed him. What happened when he died?
He turned to dust.
No, he got set on fire. Stop making things up.
Well, he got set on fire and turned to cremated dust.
Cremated, right? he ignited and changed. Like his matter changed and he went into a different form. Because because you only killed him with a mortal weapon and he's not actually dead.
To also be fair, Torvekek had no idea what the fuck was going on.
It's almost like your sword collects souls, and his is currently preserved in the sword until he can reincarnate back into Gorthok, because he's a fae, not a mortal.
Would now be a bad
I'm just giving away a spoiler on this one.
You have to use cold steel against them to kill them, right?
I thought it was iron.
Cold iron? Sorry, I don't know my German folklore.
Adarag's over here freaking the fuck out. Yeah, Adarag, you weren't here for any of this.
So would now be a bad time to mention...
diplomatic mission ahead of him.
would now be a bad time to mention that Torvekek's axe may be made out of iron? Actually,
let's just say you killed Gorthok with it, and he's not dead. So
okay, so not iron, probably just regular steel. Then.
Well, it could be iron, but just not cold iron.
How much do you guys know about the ancient race of Fae?
I'm going off German folklore, so I have no idea.
Grunkle has folklore trained.
Because from what I know from...
I think there's someone in town who knows a little bit about the Fae.
I think they're dead.
No, we didn't check on the guy with the shop with the cat and the rat.
He's dead.
Zavani's
What?
gone, missing.
What the fuck?
Adarag's like,
God, we tell me now.
I don't think he
like
heard
hour
you.
mark of the actual.
Brent said
start
he's
time?
dead. Adarag said he's missing. Sorry, Adu said he's missing.
So, yeah. So Torvekek's just made a habit of pissing off ancient.
There was someone else who knew about the Fae. I feel like they set out an offering at the beginning of the campaign.
Lily.
Yeah, but she had bloody rags in the fairy undercombs, so
Fairy
it's just
undercombs?
like she's.
Oh, you didn't see that, but Fred
didn't.
saw it, yeah.
I didn't
Fair.
see it. Yeah,
Fair.
it's sort of like, okay, well, she's dead too. I forgot her name. She's not Isabella. At least that lady's alive. Maybe.
See,
So,
but, Adarag and Nimwort still think that Liliana has
That's right.
this thing under the
Forgot
roof.
about that. Man,
We don't know what happened to her either.
there's a whole lot of stuff going on underneath the town. Crazy. Good thing no one's investigating that anymore.
We have other problems, Rath.
Yeah, that's the issue. Is we have so many things that are drawing our attention. Where like last session,
Things going on
Last-
under the town and things going on top of the mountain.
last
We
session.
also have the blights that may invade the town again in the next couple days. We have
For right now, you guys cut them off. You defeated them in battle.
Well, we didn't know that necessarily, and so last session, I entered it being like, we need to gather supplies, we need to get the potions for the mountain, Frostfern something. We need to find out if everybody's okay. We need to find our Wilfer, and then you're like, okay, you're going up the mountain. Pleasant descriptions, very nice stuff. You did a great job. And then there's sounds coming from the castle. It's like,
In my defense, they ended last session in the castle, and they were ready to collab with you guys, so I had to get you in the same room as them.
yeah, no, I get what you're doing now, but that was another one of those things where it's like, I think he wants us to go in this direction. Grunkle is pulling at my leash aggressively towards that direction, so it's like,
There was two ways I was hoping it would go. Either you went to the
Fine.
castle to investigate what was going on there, or you went with Grunkle's original plan, which was to go to the hatch at Eldar Lanes and go through that. I was hoping you would go one of those two. That's where I was.
I think it would have been hilarious if both Grunkle and Torvekek looked at the castle, roof collapsed in, sounds of battle inside, like, not our problem.
Yeah, it's very possible. I was messaging Nimwort because they were waiting, and I was messaging Nimwort on my phone, and I was like, "I'm trying, man. Give me till the 15-minute mark. Like they're in the courtyard. They're close. Like they're almost there."
I like to think that they both like looked at each other. Like Grunkle looked at Torvekek. Torvekek's pissed. Grunkle's like, "We have to."
No, it was
I like,
basically
they just looked at each
Adarag
other
didn't
for a
hear
while.
this. Adarag didn't hear this. Grunkle basically just ran off, and
Oh shit! Is that what I did?
Yeah, Torvekek and Wilfer were in the courtyard, just like, okay, just ran after him.
Oh shit! I don't even have a leash on. He got out of his harness. Grunkle.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah, and then when we brought up the underbelly of the thing, Torvekek said that there's blue people down there, and that
That's why you guys are like, you got chased down there? We just found a hallway with lights.
Yeah.
Right.
I think both of us saying, yeah, we've been down there and not elaborating at all was like, all right, everything down there has been investigated. We don't need to worry about it.
And I'm over here going, God damn it. Because I saw the miscommunication and I saw it just, you guys were both like, okay, we've been down there. Okay, we'll move on. And I was like, no, don't move on.
Yeah. Yeah, because, like, looking back, like, now that I know that much, like, yeah, it was in Adarag's character to not pursue something that's already been, like, determined is, like, a dangerous area that has already been looked through.
Hey, Adarag, where's your stash?
Underground in the ruins,
Mm.
which is something I would like to get to.
Mm.
I know.
You were stopped by a light switch, bro. You were so close.
Hey.
I'm just saying, man.
I was ready to go back down there because there was light now, and Adarag was ready to go back down, but Nimwort said no. And
I'm not shitting you. I don't know if Pickles is still here. I'm not shitting you, Fred. They turned on a light, got scared, and ran away. That's literally what happened. Like, it's...
Adarag was like, well, maybe we could at least try. Let's go and take a look.
You're
And
like,
Tim was
now it's
"No."
lit up. Now it's light. He was like, nope, we're out.
This is too dangerous.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there like, fuck, dude, I did not mean to scare you off with the light switch. Like, that was not my intention.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was actually possible.
Yeah, I was like, oh, they turned on the lights. It's gonna like create like a crazy mood, and you're gonna go in and like find all these clues and learn all this lore and do what you guys do best and like investigate and research and learn things. And he was like, now we're gonna go fight with a dragon. I was like, what the fuck?
So I don't have I asked you this before, Adarag, but what do you think? Do you think Torvekek is
Bad. I
He's
don't
a
know.
dwarf.
Yeah, he's a little chunky, but I feel like he's earned that beer belly, you know?
That's every dwarf.
Actually,
Literally every dwarf.
he's currently trying to earn his beer belly. He probably doesn't have one. He's like, you guys won't let me drink.
He's spelt.
I'm
There's
trying
been
to
so
drink.
There's been so many fights in the last 2 weeks for him. It's like, I just want to drink, man.
Sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead. What was your question to Adarag? Or Adaece, sorry. Your name.
What do you think about the direction Torvekek's going as a veteran D&D player?
Okay,
Adaece, sorry,
this
other
is Adaece's first game.
Other person, sorry.
Nimrod
reason-
hasn't played much either. I think
Really?
Nimrod. Yeah, I think Nimrod's. This is like his second game.
Shit.
Yeah, they're both. That's like the whole
as
like,
a
strings of
not veteran,
discussions.
as a not veteran D&D player, what do you think about the direction Torvekek's going? From what
Actually, I'll ask that both ways. What do you think of Grunkle and Torvekek as characters?
I mean, I think they're. Let's see. What would I say about Grunkle and Torvekek?
On the spot. And then you
From
guys
what
can
I-
say what you guys think of Adarag's the character.
From what I
Cry
can
if you need me to.
Grunkle has that is an actual action in the game now. Grunkle invented the action. You can spend action points to cry.
Try.
That is a real thing. That is canon. It's not just one.
It's
I
because
think-
aiming takes 2 actions.
I think we're up to like 3 action points have been spent crying.
Yes.
we just need a counter on the stream. in the
Yeah.
corner.
How many times action points have been spent? Literally to cry. We're up to 3, I'm pretty sure. But anyways, your thoughts on Adarag and Grunkle, and then they can share thoughts on Adarag.
Yeah. So for Torvekek,
Torvekek and Grunkle, sorry.
he seems like a little bit of a murder hobo. I'll be honest. Or at least from what I've heard of him.
It's true. The only thing they probably heard of Torvekek, like hearsay around town, they're like, yeah, that guy's killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
He's only killed like one person in a
That guy
fucking
just-
twin fight.
That guy just asks for money and kills people. You're like, oh, okay.
The one person he killed was a fae. It's not a problem.
And the irony here is
So much
that
better.
Grunkle is the one with the actual talent to sleep in the mud, sleep in a dumpster. I'm the murder hobo.
That's true. He really is. Yeah.
Oh yeah, berserker.
But continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah,
No
sorry.
worries. Yeah, no. But yeah. So honestly, yeah, it feels like a little bit of that, and then Grunkle seems like a well-meaning person, but just like very like off the.
He's like, I'm very well meaning, but like here's the well meaning path, and I'm walking in the ditch next to it.
Like he's-
What?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, but other than that, like, I think that the two characters are very well built for what they want to do. You guys set up characters that would be survivable in this combat, in this realm from a combat perspective.
First of all, he's died, and he's almost died, went into a coma.
My
Well,
build
I
is
said-
that I'm
I said
perpetually almost
survivable,
dead.
not like.
One
There's-
thing I
there's-
did just notice as he was talking was, so you're a guardian of the people, like your character build class is, you know, I'm a dwarven guardian of the people, like hero. You're a berserker, like I go out and just murder things, but your personas are flipped. Everyone views you as the guy who's just like, I'm just here to murder everyone, and you're the one who's like, I'm a guardian of the people. So it's like
He is a
you guys
man
are
at
flipped.
arms, Man at Arms is like soldier that's off duty, sort of
Recruited.
Like
No, man at arms is like think of like Civil
man
or
at arms.
Revolutionary War militiamen.
Okay, yeah, like the town guard, almost like they call
Kind
it,
of,
you're
yeah.
ready, you prepare for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah, okay,
so
yeah, Guardian.
he's
sorry.
retired. So
He is now. Yeah.
No, you're not. You're fucking in combat.
You thought
For a
you
town.
were.
he's retired from his job. Okay, it's just
You've literally been a man at arms this entire time.
so
Your arms have. Sorry.
I can
with arms.
I can kind of see the thinking Torvekek's a murder hobo, kind of. But I mean, yeah, I don't really have anything to retort with it because I mean, you've met him what, like twice?
Yeah, Adarag personally has not like much of an idea of who these people are. All he really knows is that, well, they're also trying to look out for the town in some way.
Kind of.
What's funny is
but he also notices that he's not like the people that he's met. None of them have a really high opinion of this other group. Socially diplomatic wise. Like,
oh no!
Well, I mean, the miners, they really did not like you guys.
Just because I said he had a nice axe.
no, I think it's because you guys made fun of them to their faces.
He only made fun of one of them.
Yeah,
I did say he had a nice axe.
Their boss, yeah.
I wasn't.
Anyways, what are your guys' thoughts on Adarag?
Adarag, I think, is
From the little bit you guys have gotten to interact with him.
I think he's very logical.
He just walked into an ashen tree and vanished in another realm.
I didn't say he was smart.
Okay.
Logical.
Logical, reckless, not intelligent.
Logical, not intelligent.
Exactly. There's a difference.
He has a plan. It's just it might not work.
The
At all.
plan
He
is
has a
just
plan.
so crazy, and it probably won't work.
He's got a plan, and there was a nice logical chain to get there. The implementation needs a little work.
I just love. I like Adarag. He's very logical. He just walked into another realm and disappeared. Not great. Never mind. Hang on.
No. He's still logical, not smart. I mean, I think he. Again, it's probably met him twice, but you know, like you said,
I think the first time you guys met him, he pointed a gun at Grunkle.
Which was funny. That was funny. You should point a gun at an ogre.
Torvekek's not really. He doesn't talk to people, which I guess is where the murder hobo thing came from. So
you're a little bit bitter, I think, is the thing. Is like Grunkle is a good foil to your character, I think, in the sense that you're gruff, and if left to your own devices, you probably wouldn't help this town. But your lovable fat sidekick. Oh shit! Am I the secondary character? Yeah, I am. Your sidekick is here to bring you into stuff where you have kicked ass so much. Even when I get my fat butt kicked, you still come in with your axe.
We know Grunkle has man crush on Torvekek. What are your thoughts on Adarag? I was like, that was a weird response. What are your thoughts on Adarag? His reaction.
I wasn't entirely sure. I was trying to process. Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I didn't know if it was fully my turn. It's difficult to say, but I feel like I've talked a lot in the Under the Tables with Adaece about his character, and I would say offhand that I don't know enough about his character to truly understand him. The other group is very enigmatic, but I would say everything they've done, their outcomes, as I said at the beginning of this episode, very, very beneficial to our group. It's felt many times like you have set up the stage for us to actually have a chance at fighting things. And if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be having a good time. And that's why I had my question of like, so Rath, is everybody pulling their weight, or are
Yeah.
we just like the dummies who come at the end like, I've got a sword?
I agree with Pickles there. It sometimes it feels like, all right, this is bad. Oh wait, there's a fire over there.
And but we're set up to like succeed, and I don't know. So I definitely don't see flaws with the other group, but I also don't have enough direct interaction with them to say this is who they are.
Right, I think you guys have met all of 3 times. You guys have met. There was
a lot of under the tables, though.
Right, no, but your guys' parties. There was the initial interaction, and then meeting outside of Hobbs Lodge, and then sitting down to a council meeting of all the like big players of Arwen's Rest, a lot of who aren't around anymore. And coming up with a game plan for how to protect the town. And then my disappointed look. And
there was no cooperation. I don't.
That's why we need a town council.
Hey, should we build a wall? No, let's dig a hole. Never dug a hole.
Hold up. Small segue. If we have a town council, we can agree on things. We'll have a budget. We can spend stuff on stuff.
To be fair, the one thing that did come out of that was we want to make noisemakers to distract the dragon. The dragon never came back to that town until a big fight happened. So there was that interaction. There was the festival, the Spring Equinox Festival, and then there was this one. Yeah, that's the only time your characters have actually like run into each other in town.
I feel like the other party is much more balanced, I guess, in the terms of social interactions.
Not in combat, though.
Yeah, social.
I was just about to say, yeah, no, and that's just it. Is we do kind of complement each other very well, because while we can set up all these things to make the battlefield as amenable as possible, we're not the ones who have like the ability to like finish things off and stuff like that, which is where you guys come in, and you guys do have the ability to put up that muscle.
The best representation of this is Battle of the Blights. Adarag pulled in the Lost Sons and the Miners Guild to help.
Yep.
You guys didn't do that.
That would have...
Adarag and Nimwort set up the fires to cut off the army so that you guys weren't getting overrun. They stopped sending in reinforcements because the fires were ignited by Adarag and Nimwort. Meanwhile, you guys are killing everything moving in town so that Adarag and Nimwort didn't get fucking just wiped out by an overload of blights running around. You guys held them off. Not only that, you guys held them off at Hobbs Lodge. So you guys created such a ruckus at Hobbs Lodge that they were able to move around and not get spotted. Everything was focused on Hobbs Lodge, being like, oh shit, there's a huge... Everyone get to Hobbs Lodge. Like, they're killing us. And so they were moving around, watching all the blights running to Hobbs Lodge, and they're like, sweet, we can move without getting noticed.
So what did y'all actually see blights just run past you heading for Hobbs Lodge?
So we had to sneak past the initial line, and then once we got past that initial line of blights, Adarag was able to... Adarag went on his own like little commando mission, once he got past that first line of blights, he didn't see another patch until he got to the areas of town where he needed to start fires.
And then he started fires, so no more were coming in. So once he got past the initial wave, they all ran to Hobbs Lodge. He was past them and cut off any reinforcements, so then he was able to move.
It still feels a little bit
ran to
like
Hobbs Lodge.
It still feels like a little bit like our contribution wasn't as meaningful as the other parties, just because they stopped them from coming. If they hadn't have done that, we would have been fucked.
Technically, you guys killed the commander of the army.
But they stopped, like... If we dealt with, like, 3 Needle Blight groups, where it's like a Needle Blight and 1d12 Twig Blights, they stopped, like, 30, 40, 50 of those little groups. And so that's where I think Fred is with me now. On like the hey Rath, are we pulling our weight? Not competitively, but like in a Pickles doesn't know how to phrase his words kind of way. Like the other group is doing so fantastically that's where then my mind drifted during the like last day or so.
I agree with you, but I mean, as much as you guys are like the other group's doing it, they ran away from a light switch, bro. Like I don't know what to say.
We have a fault too.
Yeah.
I did drugs and got angry and channeled my daddy issues into destroying everything.
By the way, Torvekek used like 9 gold worth of drugs at this point.
He's just pumping everybody with drugs now. He's like, yo, this
That's
shit's
true.
awesome.
You're a sugar dwarf daddy.
Yeah. Don't do drugs. Beers.
Our sugar dwarfy.
Don't do drugs.
Because he's like, oh, your ribs are busted. Morphine!
Those were your ribs.
Yeah.
No, it was your arm. Sorry.
Yeah, I have ranted to Rath. I absolutely despise the torn shoulder because I keep getting injuries.
It's happened to you, what, 2 or 3 times? You've got a torn shoulder?
I think it's the third time.
Torn shoulder specifically, too.
Fun
I
fact.
hate it so much.
Fun fact, Pickles, I have a torn shoulder.
Yeah, it sucks, doesn't it?
Currently, yeah. Like, I have a...
I'm sorry
I have a,
Karma is doing that.
We have meds now and a whole compression sleeve, and I can't lift thing. It's a whole thing. Yeah, I don't know if you can still see it. I had a huge... Yeah, it's still all bruised, you can see. Yeah, it's going
You
down.
just look swole to me.
Thanks.
In a good way.
Yeah, that's all bruised. Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's fun.
So yeah, that's
That
just
tank
where
top
our
just to show off your your torn shoulder.
Yeah.
so that's just our thought process right now, is that we're good at fighting and everything, but we kind of feel like we're being underwhelming compared to the other party. That's not your fault. That's us.
Oh, my fault.
Yeah, I know.
Rath said something earlier. I don't know if you were here for it, but I really like the idea. We were talking about town council and sort of having different things like that. And
right before
you were saying how if we kept the split like it is because of scheduling, you could have one group gathering information and solving problems and then delivering it onto us to move us towards the solving part. Have the puzzles be solved and the troops be rallied, and then we go in as the tactical force.
I think that might be part of the problem. Why we feel like we're not doing anything is because we're not communicating with the other.
We need some commanders.
Oh my god, it's funny you say that, because in their sessions, there's been plenty of times where I'm like, oh, you guys don't know this because they haven't communicated it with you yet, so I can't tell you. And they're just sitting here like, would you guys please tell us stuff so that we can have it.
So another problem with that is that our group is very, very forgetful.
Who?
Their group takes a lot of notes.
We just take a lot of
We
notes.
don't. We fly. We do this shit live. Okay.
Yeah. And so
am not a
afterwards,
smart person.
like I think it was in the last episode. Actually, now I think about it, I wonder if Shifty takes notes, because he started going back and looking at stuff from previous episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Problem
think
is,
he
the
was
Shifty's
looking-
only there for half the episodes, so
Yeah, well, I
he might have
think
just been
has,
looking in the game or something. But yeah, they take a lot of notes, and so they're able to pull from that, and that helps them.
It doesn't. So this is not an excuse for us not taking notes, but it doesn't seem like our characters would be the kind to
Very true.
focus on stuff like that.
Yeah, that's highly true. So when
Does not excuse us not taking notes, but
But regardless, there's been plenty of times where I think even Adaece said it at one point. He's like, man, it'd be really nice if the other group communicated some things that we would know. Because there's things that Pickles has told him in Under the Table, but his character doesn't know them. So then when they're acting, he's looking at Nimwort like, I know things, but I can't tell you them. Because I don't know them.
Wait.
Under the Table supposed to be us communicating this stuff?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
If your actual characters are in the same spot.
So we need
I was
something
dead
different.
last time.
Hold up. We need a new show to have. We need to have the royal table of this town.
It already
Like,
takes
we're actually-
everything I have to get people to show up this one. You can think we can do another one?
But we need one that is officially in setting, where we are sharing things when we're all. When I say when we're all, I say when we meet up at the HQ. When we meet up at the HQ.
Like a collab episode? Yeah, that would be great, Pickles. Scheduling aside, you guys could all be a great team. I agree.
But if it's only Adaece and I, we could show up and do it in character. Right?
Well, because that's been some of the issues. Is it's been something where you note it, but you don't think Grunkle would know it, so he can't tell Adarag.
That has happened. And Pickles has said,
God, I always say that.
Yeah, Pickles has said this. He's like, I don't think Grunkle would remember this. And I'm like, okay. So I guess Adarag doesn't know it.
I'm being honest about how Grunkle's a dumbass.
It's fair. I'm trying to remember any of those specific instances. Do you remember any of these? I can't.
I think
where there's been like,
major...
like,
Pickles doesn't remember.
Or it's things that like Torvekek got up to, Pickles knows about, Grunkle doesn't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so he shares it with Adaece, and then Adaece is like, I can't do anything with that.
Yeah.
Like,
I do that all the time.
Like, Torvekek went down into the underground, had a whole adventure, hasn't told anyone about it.
The bloody clothes of Liliana that I mentioned from time to time.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then...
But Grunkle doesn't know.
That was like one of the reasons that Torvekek went down in the hole was to look for Liliana. Right.
But then the battle happened and Torvekek died and he hasn't told anyone about his escapades down below.
He's been a little bit busy.
I think the only thing is Torvekek ran into Alexios and Alexios told him, yeah, Griff was killed holding back the door down below where a bunch of blue arms reached around trying to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, Torvekek did say something.
Changed
right before the battle.
Oh. So you said something to Grunkle?
I said something to Grunkle.
Well, there's your problem.
Yeah, Grunkle got brain damage.
Grunkle doesn't remember anything.
I told Bjorn. I told the old lady that's dead now.
Yeah, right before the battle, I think you said something, and that's why Griff was holding the door down there.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, you ran out, and Griff was holding the door so that they didn't get out, and they were just reaching around, stabbing him.
Mm-hmm.
I
would have helped, but I was busy.
You would have, yeah. Adarag and them Adarag found something on at the crime scene, but they haven't shared that either.
Adaece?
At the crime scene. We
Why
found
would you do this?
a little metal locket.
We don't know anything about metal lockets.
Oh my god, the metal locket! Yeah, let's talk about that too! Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry, Rath.
That was all the way back from like episode 2 or 3 or something when you got this metal locket that was connected to the mother and you guys were learning about the mother, but then you guys were like, we're never going to open the locket or care about it, which is, you gave a valid reasoning, Fred.
Yeah.
And then you gave it back to, because you knew it was Mateo's locket. And yeah, it was connected to Mateo and Griff. And
yeah, this is one of those instances where like Adaece knew something that Adarag couldn't know.
Yeah.
Which was like that Mateo's mother is this mother that they're talking about this entire time, and she's the one who's leading the Blight Army.
And then we killed her
on the locket.
No, well, so Mateo's mother was filled with anguish, and she ran away from the town, and this hatred inside of her became this corruption that turned into her like becoming a blight and leading the Blight armies against Arwen's Rest.
What?
Do you know why she was filled with so much scorn?
Well, that was chaos magic, obviously. Right?
Who's chaos magic?
Wilfers.
No, Wilfer's an innocent baby. Who else could
anyone else have chaos magic?
Elder Elaine!
Anyone find murals?
Mateo!
Anyone find murals of anyone using chaos magic or pictures that might be connected?
I think Torvekek did.
Torvekek saw a very important one, but
when they were frozen on a wall of a cave.
With a black sun, and
he doesn't know what that means. He told Bjorn, and Bjorn's like, "Oh."
That's why, like, everyone's getting little pieces. You guys got to communicate to put the pieces together to be like, locket, Mateo, mother, chaos magic. Okay, chaos magic's coming from someone, and corruption's coming from and there was a mural of a mountain, and oh my god, and picture.
So why would Torvekek think the other group knows anything about it? To tell us,
they're little.
My question is, why would Torvekek know to tell the other group so they can put the pieces together when he thinks it was just some writing on the wall? You know.
Maybe if they communicated with you about, hey, we're trying to piece this together, this story. Like we've heard about hey, the Blight army attacked us. Why are they attacking us?
Yeah.
Torvekek has told the other group all he knows with the where this stuff is coming from and maybe why.
But not
Not all
the
of
art
it.
category. You did not share the art.
The art didn't seem very, important.
That's such a dwarven mentality.
Grunkle, you found some art. Did it seem important?
Yes, it seemed important because I'm an ogre with the brain of a child.
No. What did your art lead to?
It led me to, well, Isabella is my therapist now, and she led me to solving my internal dilemmas by
Led you to a
going to
sword.
enchant my sword. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a reference to the throne room where I killed Gorthoth.
Someone else has been looking at art, and it led you guys all on fetch quests to get ingredients, which now gave you potions, which allowed you to talk to Atlas, which allowed you to turn invisible, which what was the other one? Oh, allowed the moonlit moss to become a thing because everyone was following these art drawings. That's how that all came about.
And Isabella speaks with the Fae Blights. The Blights.
Isabella was hanging out with a Blight, a friend, and she was last seen crying over the body of a Blight that was cut down in the street.
Namely Mateo, who used to be her friend.
Who the hell would do that?
She was hanging out with Mateo in the woods, because that was her friend back when he was still Mateo.
Yeah.
And she hasn't spoken. Well, I don't know if any of you guys picked this up. I think Adarag's group picked this up, but Isabella's basically gone missing and hasn't spoken in the last 2 or 3 weeks since the battle.
Yeah, so I get it. So that's 3 corruption ranks. I know. I didn't mean
you
for it
killed
to be
the
that.
commander of the enemy army. Is that corruption?
I wanted to protect
Or is
the
it
town.
just a moral dilemma that you had no problem immediately deciding, and it wasn't a moral dilemma at all?
I thought that maybe I could
No,
cut in a way.
you cut him, and he was like, and tried to run away, and you could I get him again.
I wanted to hit the legs so that it might free him.
You're like,
and disable
Torvekek
the
taught
blight.
me how to do this.
I wanted to save him, and I didn't know how. So I thought letting him flee and alert the rest of the army wouldn't solve anything. It's like it's like I think in the Aliens movies, or Alien.
Or he just
in
woke
the
up,
Aliens
realized
movies.
what was happening, looked up to see his childhood hero cutting him down with a giant sword, and he was like, oh, fuck.
Okay, well, if I'm his hero after he saw me bathe once, I don't know if this is a good worship.
No, you guys said you had the body of a god, remember? You told him you had the body of a god.
Dionysus, the god of drink and revelry.
That's a goddess. Her name's Inebria.
Okay, well, yeah, but in this case, Grunkle is masculine presenting, I think. But I feel terrible about it. I don't get me wrong.
I'm just saying, artwork has some meanings and importance, maybe.
Yeah, and Grunkle respects artwork.
So,
it comes from a
connecting dots about... So there's 2 big things that are remaining. There's the underground and there's the corruption on the mountain. You guys have a lot of pieces about the corruption on the mountain that you guys could have pieced together by now, but you guys got to be able to communicate to do so. The stuff underground, maybe you guys haven't gotten all the clues about, but you always also keep avoiding going underground, so...
The only person that is comfortable underground out of this entire 2 groups is the dwarf, and he got run out of the underground.
He's probably not so comfortable anymore.
Yeah, he's not so eager to go back down there.
Yeah, that's fair. Grunkle's never tried. I think he's the only one.
Well, I got
he's the only one who hasn't tried.
I got scared of the poop in the water.
That's
you
right.
said people were vomiting and pooping, and I was like, "Oh, I'm a Roman centurion."
That is weird. Yeah, there's a thing with poop. I was gonna say there was no poop at the hatch, and I was like, actually, there was poop at the hatch.
Yeah, I failed my resolve check, and I was like, "This is too gross for Grunk."
Why are all the passages underground guarded by poop? That's weird.
Well,
I didn't plan for that. I didn't plan for that.
They were sick, and they were vomiting and whatnot, and you said, "Yeah,
it was a plague."
Yeah, so I backed out of that, even though I wanted to go further. But
But anyways, we've gone on a while. You guys want to wrap this one up?
Yeah.
We've had a lot to talk about. There's been a couple game breaks. We've learned that, hey, Gorthok the Unyielding might be a fae. We learned a little bit about the mother, and we're communicating as players. Have your characters communicated all this? No.
Yes. Damn it.
Actually, at this point, we could say you guys were talking about this while you were traveling up north towards the...
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah? So
it's
that
not
way
going to
you
help
guys-
us any right now because half the party's in another realm.
So let me ask you this before we wrap up. Do you guys have any questions about what we've discussed?
I mean,
how the fuck does the glitch tree work?
well, that was in under the table.
That was... Someone did that.
Yeah, so somebody did that, but essentially, from what we know, or from what
This is one thing. You mentioned you talked about Atlas's story with them while they were traveling up north. I don't think they actually know Atlas's story.
No, we don't.
Okay, so
Do you guys have time?
do you guys have a second?
I don't really have too much more time. But if we can if we can do it like in 5 minutes or so, that's about how much I have left.
You
Yeah,
think
I do.
Ade- okay? Let's see
I-
you do
I-
this in
all right,
5 minutes.
Hey,
Jeez.
Adaece,
So-
Adaece, I have faith in you.
All right,
Okay.
go.
Click, click, pull.
So, all right. So, what it started out as is Atlas and his, I'm going to say brother.
Yeah,
We
brother.
didn't really get a one way or the other. They left from Othrundil and made their way over to Arwen's Rest. Othrundil, location of.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah.
they noted that when they got there, as they were going along the journey, Atlas was getting more and more corrupted as they got closer to Arwen's Rest. And then once he was in Arwen's Rest, he ended up killing his brother in starting the fire at the marketplace. And
He's
this
the
was-
art.
I told you. You guys found the arson like
No,
20
no,
episodes ago.
no.
He had no idea.
You
Continue.
didn't know that, Pickle?
anyways,
I
continue.
I'm, yeah.
So
I knew that.
The whole reason for the arson was to frame it so it looked like the shopkeeper was burned alive, but it was actually Atlas's brother. And Atlas and the shopkeeper, to our knowledge, was somehow controlling Atlas to be able to get something that's precious to Nimwort. Which is why Adarag and Nimwort are on this into Arwen's Rest anyways. But now the shop owner and Atlas have disappeared into the wilderness. We found a journal out on this ship that they came in on that noted that the whole journey of the brother, and then getting that we also have a final entry from Dibs saying that, hey, he's not actually a bad person. Please trust him. Please, he's not a bad person, sort of thing. And then from there, Adarag went and during the Battle of the Blights, while he was invisible, took the Serpent's Breath potion. He ended up communing with that dead brother's ghost at the site of the arson. And he found out that Atlas used to be a protective individual, somebody who looked out for like the street orphans. And then he found out that Atlas's brother wanted his last words to be known to Atlas of, hey, I forgive you for what you did. And that was really what, and also like reiterated like, hey, he's not a bad guy. He was corrupted by something. And then that led Adarag to try to communicate with Atlas, which he was able to do in the castle, which was where Adarag was able to talk with Atlas, let him know, hey, we understand that you're not the one that was at fault here. We wanted you to know that your brother's last words are this. And then we tried to fly out, and then as he was going, we had him help us fight the blights there, even while he was injured.
And this is where you guys came in. So you saw this, the part where before you guys came to Arwen's Rest, Atlas met with the merchant. The merchant had Atlas kill his brother, frame it so that the merchant could get away, and Atlas got away. They found Atlas. You didn't talk about that part.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, we found Atlas when we went up to the north, and we found the stone statue of Atlas while he was still in his human form.
He was
There was a
frozen to
statue
stone.
frozen in stone
Good
uh,
electric.
with like he was out in like a stabbing motion, like protecting something, and he was holding on to the arm of a dead child uh, because when he turned to stone, the child was left there and was eaten by blights or what have not. That we were able to
Which tracks. He was a protector of children.
Mhm.
That was his
He was
thing, and he was
protect-
trying to protect this child who was being taken by blights and ended up having to fight against
against himself, or no, it was like it was himself. It was a swamp
the
dragon.
dragon, because the dragon could turn things to stone with its eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Grunkle heard of this. When he was down there, he said, "There's a dragon out there that can turn things to stone with its eyes, but we've heard that maybe it's not able to do that anymore."
And that's
Why?
because Atlas, in his human form, stabbed the dragon in the eye and was able to render that ineffective anymore.
So that's the rest of that story.
So now Atlas and the dragon both have the exact same scar.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they found Atlas,
when we found Atlas, he was broken in stone, and then when he
depetrified.
got depetrified, we only had a brief moment to talk with him, and then he lit off a explosive, blowing himself up, which then
Because he couldn't live with the fact he looked down, the child he was trying to save was dead, his brother was dead, he had trying to live with what he did, he's like, I fuck this.
Yeah, and so he blew up, and then the explosion was sucked through this portal into a time before the corruption, and that's where he also started to change into this dragon as he went through the portal.
Portal with the ashen tree. There was an ashen tree near him with a rune written on it.
Mm-hmm.
And Eldar Alain wrote runes on Adarag and Nimwort going up there because they were supposed to go track down Atlas. So Eldar Alain wrote runes on their head for protection. When they got there and the explosion went off, the runes exploded as well, as did the ashen tree.
Mm-hmm.
The ashen tree exploded and there was a portal opened.
Mm-hmm.
Their runes basically reacted with the portal rune, with the ashen tree, with the explosion, and everything turned into a huge mess. And basically, they watched Atlas get turned into a dragon and get sucked through this portal, which they saw was the same area, but in a different time. And basically, what they've learned is Atlas was turned into a dragon and sent back in time. So the same dragon that attacked Atlas was Atlas.
Mm-hmm.
And the dragon that Bjorn fought on the mountain, his tribe was in wars with this dragon. They talked about that. That's Atlas from way back when, because he got sent back way back when. And so he was a normal dragon. And then Bjorn talked about, hey, he was just a dragon. Like, we had turf wars because we all kind of lived in the same area. But when the corruption started, he left.
Yeah, he tried to get away.
But then they found out he didn't leave. He got corrupted.
He made it down to the swamp areas, but then he was corrupted
turned into a swamp dragon.
And became a swamp dragon.
So this doesn't really change Torvekek's feelings. He's still pretty pissed at the dragon.
That's fair. But that's the story of Atlas. Atlas is...
So he's not
turned into a dragon through his interactions with Adarag and Nimwort, was set back in time, has lived this whole life as a dragon, which is where Dibs and his clan came from.
Mm-hmm.
They're humanoid dragon-like beings.
Mm-hmm.
Because Atlas is a humanoid dragon-like being. And there's rumors, I think someone learned that there was folklore of the dragon used to be able to shapeshift into a human, it seemed. People were, there was rumors that it would transfer between human and dragon. Except that all stopped when the corruption happened. Because the dragon was corrupted by, was turned into the swamp dragon. And can't do that anymore. It is just this monster now.
Yep. And so that's why Adarag is trying to kind of win over Atlas to try to have him as an ally, because he understands that this is somebody who's just been tormented by his own situation, not necessarily a bad person.
That's the story of Atlas.
Mm-hmm. Questions?
I have questions, but I also have cats that need to be fed.
Okay. And on that, I think that's a great spot to wrap up. I love the story of Atlas. I was so proud of that. We had a whole thing with that.
Has anybody ever told you your story is really dark?
Yeah, we actually talked about that when he's trying to protect the kid and he's fighting the dragon and he got turned to stone by the dragon, but he also pierced the dragon's eyes as it scratched his, so they have the same scar, but he got turned to stone, and so the kid was just stuck there. Like, and the stone's holding him and he died.
We heard that a while back, and it's impacting more and more.
And then the dude that we met that was just done with life and decided he was going to burn himself alive.
Because the blights were taking his whole family, and even the dead ones, they were taking him away and turning him into blights, and he was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you need some help, Rath?
Well, what was funny is that whole interaction happened, and Torvekek and Wofer were like, later, and walked to, actually, they were like, yeah, before you kill yourself, can you, like, help us with stuff? Tell us stuff. Oh, you died? Alright, later.
Okay.
We've had this talk. We're leaving it there. Thank you for watching Under the Table. My name is Rath. This is hosted by myself, Mr. Pickles playing Grunkle, Adaece playing Adarag, and Fred playing Torvekek. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you in episode 38. Who knows what's going to happen? We didn't even get into the events of episode 37. If you want to know what just happened, basically, they're in different realms. One of them was cut in half. We don't know what's going to happen. Find out next time. Thank you. We'll see you next time. Later.
Adios.
Cheers.
I love you.